Remember the sky you were born under. Know each of the stars' stories. Remember the moon. Know who she is. Remember the sun's birth at dawn. That is the strongest point of time. Remember sundown and the giving away tonight. Remember your birth, how your mother struggled to give you form and breath. You are evidence of her life and her mother's and hers. Remember your father. He is your life also. Remember the earth, whose skin you are. Red earth, black earth, yellow earth, white earth, brown earth. We are earth. Remember the plants, trees, animal life, who all have their tribes, their families, their histories too. Talk to them, listen to them. They are alive poems. Remember the wind, remember her voice. She knows the origin of this universe. Remember you are all people, and all people are you. Remember you are this universe, and this universe is you. Remember all is in motion, is growing, is you. Remember language comes from this. Remember the dance language is, that life is. Remember.
Joy Harjo was born in Tulsa, Oklahoma, to a Native American tribe called Muskogee Creek Nation in 1951. Her mother, grandmother, and aunt were all artists who inspired her to attend high school at the Innovative Institute of American Indian Arts. She attended the University of New Mexico to study art and at the age of 22 published her first book of 9 poems. She went on to earn a Master of Fine Arts degree at the Iowa Writers Workshop, as well as teaching at universities on the West Coast like UCLA, University of New Mexico, and the Institute of American Indian Arts, just to name a few. Later, she was named the 23rd U.S. Poet Laureate in 2019 and served 3 terms in all. Harjo writes primarily about Native American stories and histories, integrates indigenous myths and values into her writing, and focuses her writing around the natural world. A good example of this can be seen in her poem Remember, which was written in 1981 during a time when consumerism had become prevalent in the United States. This poem was written as a reminder to people to be thankful for life itself and not take anything for granted, while also establishing how everything in this universe is associated with one another. In Joy Harjo's poem Remember, she conveys the importance of being appreciative of the world around us and that everything in the universe is interconnected by using the poetic devices, diction, imagery, and metaphor.
In the poem, Harjo uses diction to emphasize the significance of appreciating the world we live in. Multiple lines of the poem begin with the word remember, followed by various examples of reasons the world needs to be appreciated. In lines 7 and 8, the poem says, "Remember your birth, how your mother struggled to give you form and breath." The powerful diction of the word remember pushes the reader to think about a life-changing event that many people overlook. This life-changing event can be interpreted as everything happens for a reason, proving Harjo's point that everything in the world is connected to one another. Harjo also uses diction with the word you. One line of the poem says, "Remember, all is in motion, is growing, is you." By calling out the reader in multiple lines of the poem, Harjo reminds the reader that they are the one who needs to take initiative to appreciate the world and think about how everything around us is interconnected.
Imagery is used in the poem as a way to evoke feelings of gratitude for the world around us, as well as feelings of connectedness. Harjo specifically uses the natural world as imagery in her poem, allowing the audience to clearly visualize what they should be grateful for. In lines 14 through 16, Harjo says, "Remember the plants, trees, animal life, who all have their tribes, their families, their histories too. Talk to them, listen to them." The images generated by Harjo's words are made to appeal to the audience's senses, especially the sense of sight, as people can envision these natural elements. The audience can relate it back to their own experiences, making the poem more personal or intimate, which permits the audience to feel appreciative emotions towards the world, completing Harjo's intention. Similarly, Harjo uses imagery when she describes all of the various ethnicities on the earth in lines 11 through 13. Remember the earth whose skin you are. Red earth, black earth, yellow earth, white earth, brown earth, we are earth. This line was purposely put into the poem in order to allow the audience to visualize this earth as a whole and reflect on how everything in this universe is interconnected. More specifically, although people have different skin colors, they will all be connected by being a part of the group of humans that make up this natural world.
Metaphors are used to further connect and compare the reader to the natural world. In lines 21 to 22, it states, "Remember, you are this universe, and this universe is you." By comparing the reader to the universe, Harjo is able to show how crucial the universe is to the reader, therefore making them appreciate it more. At another point in the poem, it says, "Remember the moon, know who she is. Remember the sun's birth at dawn, that is the strongest point of time." Saying that the sun is born every morning and that it is the strongest point of time relates to how people are born and that the beginning of their life is also the strongest point of time. The connection between the world and human life is done purposely to show how everything in the universe is all connected into one. Overall, Harjo's poem Remember calls the audience to be grateful about the world around them, as well as how everything in the universe is connected to one another through nature. This is accomplished through the use of the poetic devices diction, imagery, and metaphor.